Give me that. Hey, you little board game weirdos! Welcome to Crowdfunding Countdown, where we take a look at every single board game campaign finishing up this week, and also the ones that I miss in the previous week, because everything can be gotten in a late pledge, and you never have to worry about deadlines ever. It's just a way of making you feel like you should buy now. Here we're going to take a look at all the rule books, deep dive into all of them, and hopefully highlight games that have interesting mechanics and shame the ones that feel like they need to use cheap marketing tactics to try to part you from your money. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. But first off, before we begin, I want to give a huge shout out to my newest supporters of the channel, Ron and Jared. Thank you so much for jumping on board, whether you support the Patreon, whether you do a one-time donation. All of it is supremely appreciated. It's so generous, and it warms my heart, my cold, miserable, curmudgeon-y Scrooge-like heart, to have you all here watching the channel and supporting and taking some value from this content so that I can keep on wringing myself dry, straight to the bone, to get to all the great crowdfunding juices. So let's get into the week. We're going to start out with Rome, Fate of an Empire. You can see when I'm filming this, it has 5 hours left. It will have finished because it takes me longer than that to film these and put them out for sure. But some of you said you were disappointed that I didn't cover this. This is the solo game of the month by Gabe Barrett. Gabe's been doing a solo game of the month, and some of them look pretty cool. This is the designer of Robomon. That's still my favorite, but there was Kobayashi Tower. That was another one of these. Let's take a look at this one. You're the leader of Rome. Now you must conquer new lands, appease the masses, research new technologies, and build your empire into the greatest the world has ever known. Wow. No pressure. Perfect. Look at that beautiful Roman architecture, just singing out loud for all to see. Well, fair play to you. That was the joke. All right. What a delightfully charming video. I'm very intrigued, obviously, by the claim that they crammed a much larger costing game into a smaller price point. You're speaking my language, Rome. You're speaking my language. There's 6 different leaders, and there's going to be this grid of cards. Didn't get too much into the highlights of the actual mechanics. They reference Mage Knight, which I now have, but I haven't yet played. I'm excited to look into that. Okay, here's the gameplay. Yes, simple. Play a card for movement and move the leader pawn. So you have this grid. You're going to navigate the grid by playing cards. Drop influence tokens on developments as your leader moves and spend them to activate actions. Cool. You go to a spot to have actions, and I guess you can activate them later. I hope you can activate them later. That would be exciting. Pay gold to buy cards from the market. Improve your deck. Build a development by playing attribute cards from your hand. Okay, cool. So you can upgrade spots on the board. That's it. That's all you do. Simple. Love it. Do it. Let's download the rulebook, because this looks fun. This does look exciting. All you need is a simple flow with variable choices. That's all you need. You want to design a board game? That's all you need. Just get a simple flow with variable choices. Don't get a variable flow with simple choices. Well, you could do that as well. Look at that. Those are the 2 ways to make a game. You did it. Then you have basic actions and boosted actions. I don't know what boosted actions are, so we're going to figure that out. You might know that already. If you do, type in the comments, Chris, you dumb idiot baby. Boosted actions are this. I wonder, there was a time where I think people thought I was in earnest calling somebody a dumb idiot baby, or a game, or that a game was for dumb idiot babies. And just like imagine the type of person that you have to be to say that genuinely. It's this type of person. Spoiler alert, it was me the whole time. That was me taking off my mask. Somebody stop me! Okay. Oh, we're overtired energy now, which is great. It's way better than just tired energy. Oh, cool. You're going to have 1 more turn each round. That's nice. There's enemies as well. Cool. Edicts, these are your goals, your kind of endgame points. Anyway, here's how you play. You choose a leader. You get their special attribute cards to your base starting deck. Well, there's only 1 base starting deck, I think. 4 movement tokens, 11 enemy tokens randomly, so there's going to be enemies populated all in the upper echelon. Down in the lower echelon is stuff you can do. Cool. I like tracks for tracking your resources. Pay refers to resources, spend refers to cards in your hand. Same type resources refer to 2 resources of the same type. Well, thank you. Thank you for that explanation. I'm glad somebody in playtesting was like, I don't know what the same type is. Can you just write that they're the same type? Yeah. Oh, perfect. All right, how to win. Complete all the requirements of all your edicts, including glory point requirements by the time the game. Fail to complete all the edicts. That's how you lose. The game can also end in collapse, which is if you've taken too many loans or your people have too much strife. Your people have too much strife. Yeah. Check, 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 check. 25. No, let's start ourselves up a little bit. Your people have too many strife. Yeah, there we go. Cool. See, I already like the order of this. The active projects phase, for every project that you have active, you have to either play a gold, then gain a strife, or gain a strife, which will presumably lower that amount that are left. And then it says, then check to see if you have any trade agreements that give you resources or gold. So even just the flow of it feels slick in terms of punishing you. Here's what you can do. You can play attribute cards, buy cards. Yeah, we already kind of covered that in the little gameplay section. Conquer, return strife, pay off loans, sure. To play a card, you play a card. Play a card and you do the thing. Oh, if you spend a resource of the corresponding color, then you can boost that action. But you have to have that specific resource. Cool, I like that. Now I know how to play Mage Knight too, so it's perfect. You have to build out from your capital. That's important. Can't just build everywhere. You'll get bonuses in a specific threshold, depending upon what you're building. At any time during your turn, you can place an influence token on the development your leader's standee is currently at. You may not place an influence token if there's already an active or spent influence on the space. It's interesting about the spent influence. I wonder if it goes away in cleanup. And usually there's something that says some of them have a when influenced action that you can get immediately. Some require you to spend them. Doesn't say if you can spend them whenever yet. Oh, okay, so the spent influence. So you just can't take that thing twice. It's a little less exciting because you get to refresh and clean up at the end of every turn. And then at the end of every round, your deck was empty at the start of your turn. You have no more valid actions you can or you want to make. The turn tracker advances to the round ending position. Those are the ways an end of round could be triggered. Shuffle all your cards together, cycle all the cards in the market, build, build, build. Yeah, I like the potential flow of this. I think it's a really nice price. Like for $24, well, what's shipping? $5 shipping to the US and Asia, $6 shipping to Canada. Yeah, so that's $30. It'd be like 40 Canadian, but that feels reasonable. I like the flow. This one's a little bit hard to judge because you don't know what's on all the cards. I think you'd really want to have to play this one a bit before making that decision and seeing the flow. But the amount of things that you can do seem nice. I like the view of this grid. I like the idea of developing things up. The edicts aren't necessarily clear, so what you're working towards in going through that rulebook doesn't feel necessarily clear to me, but I assume it's the standard things of develop X amount of places, murder this many citizens, keep the votes in the Senate so that Rome remains a toga-only nation, right? Any of those things. Yeah, definitely seems cool. I don't know if this is going to turn me around personally on solo games, but I like the amount that you get does feel like a good value. They were saying it in the video, and I agree potentially with that assessment just based on a component standpoint. Shipping's really nice, has the potential to have a really nice flow, and I like the variability that can happen just based upon the cards that you're getting and that you can shuffle that breakdown of cards as well. So definitely a lot of potential there. If you're interested in that, well, that's already done. You can go check it out. Let's move along to Awkward Guests, the Berwick Case, a deduction game that challenges you to solve the murders of one of the Berwick twins and to orchestrate the murder of her sister. I'm very excited to check this out. I'm surprised it hasn't raised more. I've heard really good things about Awkward Guests. Awkward Guests has been something that I've always been interested in and have never gotten a chance to play yet. So I'm excited to see how this one plays and to see if it's any good. Cool, I didn't know that this 2 stood for 2 players. It's a 2-player version, a 2-player deduction game where you sort of pit each other head to head. One of you is the investigator trying to figure out what happened, and the other person is trying to plan the murder of the second half of the twins. The first investigator to answer these questions correctly. Who killed Beatrice/Berenice Berwick? Why did they do it? How did they end her life? Wins the game. Well, if you're the murderer, I think you would know that. Why? Because the game told me to. They said it would be a fun evening. Use real deduction to solve your case rather than that fake deduction that keeps going around. Okay, so both twins died. Oh, okay. So the idea that you're playing the mastermind and the investigator isn't really a thing. It's just that it's in a 2-player game. They have to ask questions to somebody, and somebody has to know the answers, right? So you know the murder of one of them, and you can inform them about it to see if they're right or wrong, and they do the same for you. You'll choose the murderer, motive, and crime weapon. That old crime weapon. You'll roll dice, sort of dice drafting, limited choices of what you can actually ask. Okay, let's see the rulebook for more specifics on how that deduction aspect works. Oh, that's cool. You're going to be writing on stuff, and so one side will be investigated. The other side mastermind. This is so that you don't get confused, as I often do. So there's going to be a number. Each suspect has a motive, people who will testify against them, and evidence that can be found, and their favorite type of weapon as well. We have a forensic area, the signs the weapon leaves on the corpse, a rictus grin, and signs of a fight. Oof. Cool, here's the blueprint of the mansion. This is where both Beatrice and Berenice were killed. These are the connections of how they could kind of escape. These are the footprints with the suspects' initials. They're crossed out during the game to mark out which suspects did not pass through there. Cool. Yeah, this looks fun. The numbers represent the weapons found in the room, suspect alibi boxes. So really, it lives and dies by reading your opponent and how your opponent sets this up. I think Awkward Guess, there's a way to set it up without having opponents, and this one feels driven by your own dynamic, which, depending upon what you like, might be good, might be bad. Okay, so murder starts in an alibi room, and then you trace a path. That's how you set it up. Cool. Yeah, this looks fun. Then there's 5 potential false clues, 5 testimony, and 3 evidence boxes. Okay, so what can you do to solve that? You reserve all your dice first, and then you get to ask your inquiry. So testimonies, evidence, interrogations, the help, forensics, all just attributing to something specific of the evidence, right? You place the dice in a room. All of these are sort of dice placement defined by the board, and then you learn some stuff. Yeah, I like this. I think it looks fun. It's sort of head-to-head. The setting up doesn't seem too cumbersome. And it's only €23, 34 Canadian, so shipping, what's shipping? 9 to 10 bucks US, Canada, 12 to 13. So for me, this would be about $50. You could add on the awkward guests, though. I don't know, this one does look fun. I've been really interested in Awkward Guest for a while, but I haven't ever pulled the trigger on it. Maybe because I haven't found it. I think I know somebody who has it now, and maybe I'll play it eventually. But yeah, this looks cool. That finishes Wednesday, May 1st at 10 a.m. Let's keep it moving to this one, Bugsnax, the card game. Join your favorite grumpuses in Bugsnax, the card game. I didn't know I was in this. An easy-to-play card game based upon the hit video game. Sure. This is probably awful, but it's rated the same as Awkward Guess, so I hope it isn't. Well, I'm not the target audience for this one. You're gonna get a deck of cards. You might have a meaner deck with more take that. Let's look at the rules. Eat 6 bugs. Play cards to get bugged. How much are you? 20? 25, of course you are. That's too much for a cheap card game. But if you like the IP, you're gonna get exactly what you're expecting. I bet they don't even have shipping information, so good luck. Now here we go. Shipping domestic, $10 for a copy, so $35 for a small little card game. I don't know. I don't know what else I can say about this thing. After 1900 campaigns, they lose a little bit of the appeal, just a bit. So that finishes Wednesday, May 1st at 11:45, 54 a.m. Let's move along to this one, Garden Geckos. Like, come on, Awkward Guess 2 is a way, 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 way better game for a similar price than this Bugsnax. Like, let's compare apples to squash here. Garden Geckos. Let's see. Cute little bug meeples. You're gonna place tiles and you want to make patterns. Easy. $60 Canadian though for it. Why would I not play Cascadia for 50%? Of the cost? That's the real question. You'll have these objective cards where you're making these patterns though, so that's kind of neat. And you'll have these premium bug meeples, which, yeah, come on, they're pretty fun. And your geckos as well, and an 8-page rule book. Yeah, let's do it. No stretch goals. I mean, it doesn't have to be fake. I know that stretch goals are generally planned out, but I think you can also, see how much you raise and then go for screen printed. That is an extra cost. Have you made enough to cover the cost? That's what stretch goals are supposed to do. Oh, this is beautiful. How to play, download the rulebook. Yes, please. Give it to me. Well, we'll read the little examples first and see how much we need. But place a hex connecting to one side of an existing pattern, then place a gecko on that connected pattern. Easy. When a tile is fully surrounded, the players with the most geckos touching it gets the bug. Cool. Bugs are worth 1 point. Again, better than Bugsnax. Achieve pattern objectives in the market by occupying the same patterns as indicated on the objective card. So your gecko just has to touch those things. That makes sense. You get the card. You get more bugs. Score 1 point per bug at the bottom of the card. Oh, specific bugs. Cool. I like that. Achieving bug objectives. Oh, you just have to be a connector. So your gecko is connected. That seems pretty easy. I thought you had to create like a chain, sort of route building, but you just have to put your connection. And then secret terrain objectives. 1 point for each third tile in the largest connected area matching the objective. I don't know what that means, but bugs on cards, bugs and meeples. So scoring those patterns can give you more scoring. Oh, cool. I like this advanced scoring too. Double the card score if your player has trapped the matching bug. And of course, it wouldn't be Kickstarter without plushies. That seems pretty self-explanatory. Just creating the patterns. I like the way the patterns are created. I like taking the hexes. You'll take a hex tile from your hand, so you'll have a hand of hexes. Draw back up to 3. Oh, cool. And there's a way to mitigate a bad tile hand by paying bugs. I like that. Yeah, this seems nice. This seems a lot better than I expected it to. The pattern matching feels simple, not too many terrain types, so it's not overly complicated. Sometimes you do have to do chains. Yeah, I think that's quite nice. It is $60 though, Canadian, and then I don't know what shipping is. Let's see. Shipping will be $15 to the US and some other places. Canada, $20. It's like a $90 game, unfortunately for me. It's certainly not worth that. If this were the same price as Cascadia, though, I could see myself playing it. Nothing that, like, totally breaks the bank or blows my mind. The box art doesn't really draw me in, unfortunately. But I think mechanically, this looks pretty solid. So if you like tile laying games and you want to support this one, check it out. It finishes Wednesday, May 1st at 12 p.m. Moving along to Exit Vector. Shoot, scoot, sleaze, survive. An aerial combat miniatures game set in a dystopian future. Only has 57 backers. We're not going to look into this in too much detail, but I still want to check it out. It's kind of cool. Veteran gamers and aviation professionals would love to play and design games. Let's go to the gameplay section. We'll shoot, scoot, sleaze, and stabilize. Tests, roll for successes. Actions are resolved through tests. You'll roll an action die, use result to add or subtract from the modifying range of a core attribute. If the results meet or exceed the threshold, the test succeeds. There you go, stat check resolution. Based around a combat round, a 3-second period where each character will take their allotment of actions in a sequence. 3-second period. I don't quite understand that. You get 2 actions, essentially. There has to be a game master in this one, which is a bit weird for a war game. I mean, you haven't told me what sleaze is. Maybe that's an aviation term, but I certainly don't think about it. The only person I think of when I think of sleaze is Slippery Jim's cousin, Sleazy Jim.
Oh, don't you speak about that, boy.
Okay.
Yeah, you speak about me. We're not getting to the prices.
Okay, I'm getting to it.
Get to the prices. I want to see how tasty
full set of extra minis, $99.
Oh, spend it. Spend it.
So,
yeah, I love it.
There's that.
Yeah, I want to slop that down right on my little table. Oh, what more prices
$25, you're right.
$25?
And you don't get any of the game, no.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I thought you might.
I love that tastedness. I love when people spend
We certainly
money
better
on
hope we
things
don't
they
see Sleazy
need.
Jim on this channel anytime soon. Because,
Yeah.
let me tell you, he's a menace.
scares me.
He's a menace.
I'll tell you, he gives me the slippery jibbly jibblies.
One thing we can agree on.
Yes, we agree. Ooh, so
I don't know
close.
why you're so close to me. It's
tasty.
almost like I was looking in this direction, thinking that you'd actually be over there.
Further,
But now I've been forced to confront
slip up on
the
you.
very oily
Slip
nature
over,
that.
slip and
Okay,
slide.
please.
Slip and slide
no.
all down there.
Good thing I'm a bit safe in my bubble. I mean, this just seems like a war game. There's no rulebook. There's no shipping. Why should anyone bother? Seriously. So don't bother. That's the verdict. Finishes, who cares, because we're not bothering. Moving on to the Eternaut, the board game. A 1 to 5 player survival board game set amidst an alien invasion in the heart of Buenos Aires. I'm not convinced, but maybe potential. Dead of Winter-esque, I'd say, just with this art style as well. Cooperative survival game. It's nice to know it's cooperative. Didn't say that in the video. Maybe they did. I don't think it matters that you're in Buenos Aires. Watch out, Buenos Aires. Okay, let's keep scrolling. Just keep scrolling. Just keep scrolling till you get to the game overview. Very strong narrative elements. Yeah, I feel that as well. Every card seems to have a narrative text associated with it. I kind of hope there's an app to this, because looking through a big old book, like this might be a perfect app. Constantly flipping back and forth through the pages may not be that fun. I don't know. Similarly, the beloved point-and-click games from our childhood, in Eternaut, the players will have the characters talk about different topics, interact with items like doors, shelves, vehicles, picking up stuff, reading passages, you can see that. Start the game with 4 heroes who miraculously survive the deadly snow. As you go forward, you unlock new stuff. It's a campaign, but scenario-based campaign. Sometimes those are fun. Sometimes they're nonsensical. I think in a narrative thing, it makes sense, though. When you want to instruct one of your characters to interact with another entity, you must play the correct action cards and read the matching paragraph number with combination of the 2 IDs. So it's very escape room, right? Okay, so Simon needs to hit the cabinet. You go 124, 904. I do like that your characters, whoever interacts with it, might change. That's kind of neat. This feels very ambitious in that regard. Feels more like playing the point and click. Yes, if they're going for a point and click, if they're going for an interactive novel, that's what this feels like. I think if you're not interested in an interactive novel, you should stay away. 9 scenarios, single campaign will cover 6 scenarios. You'll get a final victory point value if you want to maximize things, but you're going to go through these 6 scenarios, and then you'll probably go through them again to get the other half. I'm not sure, I was just muted for a second, so I'm not sure how much of that got covered, or maybe I was talking. Oh no, I muted it because my former friend, and now nemesis Josh, sent me this as a voice message. She said she left her mess. So, you know, it was imperative that I listen to that nonsense. Oopsie. God, I hate that it's my favorite song. Yeah, the rulebook itself is 8 pages, right? There's not a lot here other than that interactive story moving forward. There's crafting, there's gathering items, there's crafting, there's talking with another character, there's getting items, there's triggering events, there's not even like fights. So it's just a big old story. If that sounds like something that's interesting to you, check it out. For me, I don't think so. I could just read the book, I feel, personally, or I could play a point and click adventure instead rather than go through the work of setting it up and reading. I never learned how to do that. But if you're interested in this, check it out. The finish is Thursday, May 2nd at 12 p.m. Moving along to Cat Packs by All or None Games. I think All or None Games, they did Hidden Arc, didn't you? You did. I like Hidden Arc. I don't know why All or None Games don't get more attention, to be honest. All the stuff that I've looked at from them has definitely been above average. You know, I backed Hidden Arc. I quite enjoy Hidden Arc. I'll put out a review of that once I've gotten more plays in on it, just to give them some support. I mean, the video is not going to do well on YouTube, I can already tell you that, but I like talking about things that are good, that are unknown, so I hope this one's good. Let's see, Cat Packs. Cherry pick the most magnificent gang of cats the world has ever seen. I heard, put together the most whimsical cat gag you've ever seen, and I thought, well, welcome to the party, Cat Pack. But it's a cat gang. You want a gang of cats, which is basically what we have around here. It's just a simple tile-laying game, a mix between a tile-laying game and a card game. There you go. You draft a new cat from the alley, and then you use resources to play the cat from your hand, making a tableau. You want to match up the same color symbols. That's pretty much it. This game is freaking phenomenal. Wow. I mean, you can get yourself a Meow Boy, so, I mean, well played. I think this looks just fine. I think Noctiluca, that Flat Out Games was doing, if you want a tile-laying game, looks probably better than this. I don't mind that you're trying to collect sets while creating this tableau. That's kind of fun. And there's also these corners that you want to create corners with. You're making a bunch of different stuff with this. Like, there's a bunch of different sets. I don't see how there could be more full rules. Well, there might be a way, Rado. There might be. Rulebook. Yeah, let's see if there's something more to this that I'm missing. Player with the most cat shine wins the game. You get cat shine by creating them yourself, surrounding cats. I'm sure it's fine. How much are you? See, it's $49 Canadian, $50, 33 euro, and then there's shipping. There's 100 cat cards, but otherwise, this is too much for what it is. Which is too bad, because I wanted to be very overjoyed about this game to support them again, but turns out I'll stay with Hidden Arc. Sweden, €5, 15 euro shipping, right? Like, this would be an $80 game for 100 cards of a tile-laying thing. I don't understand how we can justify this coming into existence. It's a very harsh thing, but in Canada, like, the competition that you have in this genre in tile-laying is just so significant. And if you can't get the cost down to something that's, like, reasonable to allow people to take a shot on it, I don't know. But hey, they've met their goal. They've done about as well as they normally do, so good for them. If you're interested in that, it finishes on the 2nd at 1 p.m. That's Thursday. Moving along to Project L, Square One, the sequel to the smash hit engine builder Project L. Square One introduces a new dimension to its mechanics, time. I guess let's find out how easy this is to learn and how hard it is to master. That's a unique saying. More people should use that. It's a good descriptor. Well, this, I guess it'll depend on how much it is. No, stop it. It's just, like, Project L is just better than this. It's less satisfying, so much less satisfying, because every cube is the same color. Or every cube is the same shape, and they have pictures of the shapes on them. I don't know. You gotta plop the cubes into these cards to get the rewards, and then you get more cubes, right? You're building this engine of possibilities at your fingertips while you also have an efficiency puzzle of how to use those pieces, what things to take, how to spend your actions. Project L is a good game. This seems like a smaller version of Project L. It doesn't seem like it's doing anything different. They say the big thing is timing. Well, it's just if you complete multiple cards in the same row or on the same turn, you get a bonus. That's it. That's the only thing that's different. Otherwise, just get Project L. Project L, I think, is really solid. You can use this master action, which is nice, to, again, be efficient with your actions. Like chaining these together and getting additional pieces. And they didn't even finish this. They didn't even finish this one in the end with this combo. And because they have the piece right there. Oh, because it can't fit in there. And it's not like you're generating stuff that you can then slide in. I don't know. I don't think it is a unique standalone game. It seems pretty much exactly the same to me. I don't understand why you would ever go for this, because it's more expensive than what you can get Project L, which had a sale very recently, and I think will scratch the exact same itch. I don't see this being any different than Square One. Or sorry, Project L. Who knows? They're both the same. What's the shipping like? €17. So you're paying almost $100, right? 66 Canadian plus €17. I'm at, $90 Canadian for this. No chance. I did see Project L on sale though, at maybe Boardlandia? Maybe it was there for like $22 the other day. Why would you not just do that? But if you're interested for some reason in this one, it's barely smaller. Maybe because it's smaller. I don't know. The finish is Thursday, May 2nd at 2 p.m. That's a real bummer. And speaking of bummers, we've got Dragonbond, Lords of Vaala, Epics of Valerna. It's a new narrative expansion for this action programming miniatures game, plus all previous ones. Play as a dragon, hero, or a dragon-bonded team. Now, I own this. I backed it in the first Kickstarter. It was the pick of the week. I thought it was an incredible deal, and we'll see if this deal is still incredible. It was like $49 for everything. Now it's a bit of an uptick, but you basically got 2 games for free. All of their expansions, they made this big box. Oh, let's go get it. Come back to me. So we've got Dragonbond, Lords of Vaala, and then it also came with this. These were the stretch goals, and this is essentially its own war game, which I thought was incredible. Like, this was for $49. These 2 honking things, really incredible value. Still stand by it being incredible value. I'll repeat what I said in the comments to somebody asking about Dragonbond, is that for me, I was a little bit let down by the premise of the dragon bonding. The whole premise of this, I should watch this video first, but I'm still going to talk about it. The whole premise of this game is that there are 2 generals, 2 dragons, and at some point, it's an area control game. First to 10 points wins. At some point, you might, if you're in the same space as somebody, you might dragon bond together. It makes it harder to win. You both have to get to a certain spot in order to win, but you have double the turns. You've merged, and it has been a unique, exciting choice. Now, when I've only played this once, and that was about a year ago. I haven't played this copy yet. When I played that, it felt I didn't want to dragon bond. I wanted to do it on my own, and there was basically no way of me stopping somebody from dragon bonding with, and that was very disappointing. The gameplay itself is fun. You're programming cards, you're putting your cards face down, and you're choosing when to pass. You're saying, no, I'm out, let's start the round. And so you can keep on putting cards down until somebody kind of triggers that, which is interesting. But just the base game kind of pushes you towards that dragon bonding, and even if you don't want to, like, they can just dragon bond with you. It's a real lesson in consent here with the dragon bonding Lords of Vaala, because they did not get the memo that sometimes you don't want to become a team, you want to go it on your own. And so with that, it's a little bit disappointing. I have heard that the expansions, they added more generals, they added more dragons. You can mix and match. You can have a game of all generals. They add in these monsters that roam around and do weird things. All of that sounds fun, but all of that increases the overhead. And I just wish for the base game to be thoroughly sound. And currently, I don't know if it is. This is also guaranteed a 4-player game. Don't play it at any other player count, right? The player count's a lie. This is a 4-player game because you need it to have a team game and because of how the automation works, right? How the cards go in. But the programming aspect of it is fun. The efficiency aspect of it is fun. And the way that powers synced up were fun as well. So this one's a little bit tricky. I want to watch this video, see if anything's changed, and then look through the campaign page. See, this is what I'm interested in. Customize your character's playstyle, that's a potential, but it seems like you're just customizing how strong your units are. Not sure. Back now on Kickstarter and become Dragon Bonded. What if I don't want to be Dragon Bonded? I mean, it is in the game, to be fair. You should have known what you were walking into, I suppose. I still think if this game is for you, the base game and the epics, I don't know what the epics is. Oh, that's the new expansion. Yeah, the new expansion with the base game, that still feels like a potentially reasonable deal. You're not going to get as good of a deal as I did. I called this out. That's why you need to tune into Crowdfunding Countdown, because I parsed through them all and I was like, nobody's taking this company up on what is an incredible deal. I hope this Armies of Blood and Dreams will be a cool war game as well. Maybe I'll keep this and sell the base game. And I do like the base game. I like it when you know what you're walking into. So I'm excited to play it as a team game, a 1-hour sort of team game where you don't know who your partner is to start. Also, something to be wary of for this, and maybe they've fixed it because I saw that there was something outside the box on this one, but the rulebook to this is one of the worst rulebooks that I have read. And I've read thousands of them. It was almost indiscernible of how to play. If I didn't really kind of already know going in, it would have been very difficult. It was just bad. I do like that you're collecting points, and then you can use those points to do big powers. I think that's fun. Oh, there are extra cards that you can get from playing. I think I did play with that. And then you add them into the mix while you're playing, and everybody can see that you played that thing because it has a different back, and that gives everybody a little bit of information of what you're going to do, which I think is neat. That still exists. I bet they're not even going to show the rulebook on this because they know how horrible it is. They're like, listen, this is a draft rulebook. It's been out for 2 years. They're still with Panda? I feel like they had issues with Panda. Or they had issues with their manufacturer. Maybe they switched to Panda. I really don't like that the rulebook isn't on the campaign page because it should exist. Let's go to gameplay. Did I miss it? Oh yeah, but I bet it's over on Tabletopia because you have to have the rules over here. Like, so stupid. I want to see if things have changed. That's why I need to look at it versus just opening my box and reading to you. Yeah, it places an action or a region card face down. See? I remember something. Yeah, the first person to pass ends it for everybody as well, which is kind of a fun thing. You know, you got to get your actions in, and you got to get it efficiently, and you might pass. And some actions give you some flexibility as well. Oh yeah, we do have the Denizen card, so we do have people running around. Yeah, after activating a glyph or retreating, if your non-bonded general is in the same region as a non-bonded dragon, you have a chance of becoming Dragon Bonded. It's a very high chance, which is unfortunate. Especially because it says after activating a glyph is just a card. A glyph is just anything. So it's like, hey, have you done anything in this area control game, which is where you're like tightly beside these people? Did you do anything? Great, you might be Dragon Bonded, right? This rulebook does seem better, though. It really was just horrible. Oh yeah, I don't think it tells you how to win, though. Maybe that's it. Oh yeah, the player reaches 10 power. Never mind. Yeah, and the fact that, like, terminology is thrown in as you're reading from top to bottom, I think that was it. Like, they reference glyphs, and you're like, what the heck's a glyph? Is this a glyph? Is this? And you have to keep on, like, reading to get that information. It's just, like, not a well-structured flow of a rule book, if I remember correctly. Oh, and this, combat, see page 12. And there's a bunch of the glossary. Yeah, this is it. The glossary is one of the most garbage things ever, because it's like, oh, see this page. It's like, what's a region? There was a lot of like bouncing back and forth, and there were a lot of rules that were just sort of hidden in the glossary, which looking through now, maybe it's changed. Anyway, final verdict, unless you really want a team game where you start out and you don't know who your teammate is, but you will after the first 2 turns, whether you like it or not, then you probably shouldn't get this game. If you want that, then I think that's what you'll get here. And I think the production quality is going to be good. I think the flow of the game is fun. I just think it falls into that really unique circumstances that you have to be aware of, like those are the circumstances you're playing the game, and I think it really bills itself as something else, and that can lead to disappointment. So that finishes Thursday, May 2nd at 4 p.m. Let's move along to God of War, the game that I thought I'd have to give 5 reasons, but at this point it seems like I need to give Command 5 reasons not to cancel. This is a God of War, the board game. It's a cooperative dungeon crawler for 1 to 2 players, expandable to up to 4 with expansion. No, it's not going to be fun with 4. They're just doing that because people get scared of a 1 to 2 player count. And so they want to sell more copies. Filled with epic fights and puzzles, it also features a unique combat leveling system based on the bonding of characters and cooperation. Take on the role of Kratos and Atreus. Follow the series of adventure that imagine scenarios during the years between God of War and God of War Ragnarok as Fimbulwinter descends on Midgard. Let's check this out. I was like, come on, until they do something that wrongs me. GameFound needs to get its platform's shit together just to let you play the video without it just, cycling through to the next page. I can see why that video is uninspired. In God of War, the board game, they take on an epic journey facing daunting challenges and fearsome foes, teamwork and cooperation, introducing the new innovative synergy system. Ooh, is that like the fusion dance? Which encourages players to strategize and work together effectively to achieve victory. If you want to be a demigod, it'll only cost you $90. Yeah, I like that. 126 Canadian. Oh, I don't like that conversion. I think this is a solo game. I think the 1 to 2 is probably tacked on, but maybe not. You're always going to be dealing with these 2 characters. At the beginning of each game, players select 1 quest out of 8, along with monsters and a final boss to confront. There'll be puzzles and a distinct objective. Monsters and bosses have their own patterns and behavior. Okay, that's it. Oh, the Mortal Pledge is what you want. Oh, core box at discounted price, no stretch goals. Never mind, I take it back. The Demigod Pledge gives you all the stretch goals and a 3 to 4 player expansion that they've thrown in because it wasn't selling. Alright, you choose a scenario. Here's how to play, finally. Players choose any 2 monsters and 1 boss to face in the scenario. You have a set of 4 different skill trees at the beginning of the game. Choose 2 among them, based upon the progression they'd like to see their character, or the scenario, or do randomly. Cool, okay, I like that. There's some asymmetry there. Skill trees just being, a couple of different abilities, but each hero has their own attack cards, but they both draw action cards from a single deck. Based on the cards drawn and the current state of play, players decide the order they'll play each round. During their turn, each hero can move, interact with the elements on the board, support the other hero, and attack. Whenever a monster is damaged by a hero, it's marked by that hero's damage token. Strive for synergy. Whenever enemies are defeated by the actions of both Kratos and Atreus, the heroes get to roll the synergy die, which awards bonuses and advance the synergy track. It is by reaching synergy milestones that the heroes grow more powerful. Cool, so you just want to punch each other. Basically, as Kratos, you want to get them down to 1 health, and then Atreus can kill them and feel all big and strong. That's essentially what it is. When the boss is out, the heroes have limited time to kill him. There's the Game of Thrones crossover. I mean, the sculpts do look fun, like this big old block of ice. And this big boy carrying a big old block of ice. And this ogre whose back is covered in big old shards of ice. And this raider chief whose tactics are straightforward but quite effective. Crush anything in their path. Like a big old block of ice. I'm going to need to see this rulebook because that doesn't give me really anything. Seems like a standard dungeon crawler where you want to work together. Alright, was just watching a little bit of a playthrough as well. Each enemy will have 4 different behaviors. You're going to flip up a card and it'll act in a certain way. You'll have your own cards, which you can use to do specific skills. Not every monster spawns at the same time, though. Or sorry, not every monster activates at the same time. You'll be flipping up cards depending, which will show both how they behave and who behaves. Who is behaving and how are you behaving? Heroes will take alternating actions until both players have passed. I wonder how that changes when it's 1 player. It doesn't really. You just activate one and then you activate the other. You're playing as both, just 2-handed. You can move, you can interact, you can attack. They will do different things depending on the color and depending upon the number. Higher numbers are probably more valuable. I mean, all in all, this is giving me a big meh, to be honest. I like the idea of the synergy track and moving up that and unlocking your abilities and having teamwork. That's cool. Also, is just like a forced upon teamwork. I also love how they make you put both minis on the board. They're like, they're both there. It's father and son. Get on board with it. Yeah, it just seems like a little bit of a standard dungeon crawler. And if you love God of War theme, great. It's just one of those things where, yeah, their shipping seems normal. I thought their shipping was supposed to be incredibly expensive, but it seems pretty standard. Come on. That's what they've been averaging the last little while, like $50 for Canada. That's why you go with a group buy. But yeah, I mean, like, for an IP game to have raised only $400,000, I don't know if I've seen a Command game raise such a small amount. And it's all relative because that's a huge amount of money, right? I wish I had that amount of money. That would be incredible. If that just dropped into my lap, maybe I could have a place to live. Well, that was my own in a rural town. Certainly not in Toronto. But yeah, I don't recall. Even Trudvang did a little bit better than this. I think Trudvang eventually passed 1 million. And this is just paling in comparison. What did Trudvang do? I mean, to be fair, Trudvang has yet to deliver. Yeah, 1.4 million. Still raised 1.4 million. It still hasn't left the station. The wait is almost over. 5 years later. Can we update our shipping address? What, you're not still in the same place after 5 years? I don't know. This just seems mediocre, and it's pretty surprising that it is. I kind of expect a little bit better from Come On. It just seems fine. Then again, maybe they're trying to keep it a little bit more basic, right? We see this in a lot of IPs because you're appealing to maybe video gamers and not board gamers. But that's, I mean, Come On's done bigger and better stuff than this before. Maybe Mordred didn't do that well either, but I think Mordred looks significantly better than this. This looks like a downgrade on Monster Hunter from Steamforge. That's what this looks like. But if you're interested in that, well, don't let me stop you. I think you know what you're getting. That finishes on the 2nd. That's Thursday at 9 p.m. We're going to keep on moving over to Mindbug Battlefruits. This is almost Dre's more. This is the perfect entry point or expansion point. Mindbug, I have a review of Mindbug on the channel if you want to know how Mindbug plays. It's a dueling card game.
So it's just like Duel Monsters.
Yeah. Well, a little bit. With a twist, is that when you play a card, I can just take it and be like, yeah, I played that card. And then you play another card, and I can take it. And I'd be like, nope, I played that card too. And then you play a third card, and I say, okay, I've used all my mind bugs. Now you can play whatever cards you want. And that's the crux of the game, is you're trying to bait your opponent into using their mind bugs. You want to get in their minds that they use the mind bugs on cards that you don't need and not on cards that you do. You have a stack of like 10 cards. You're trying to attack the opponent directly. And you need to know how sneaky works, because sneaky can just get through the defenses and immediately kill someone, kill a person who you're facing if they don't know how the game is played. But it's really quick. It plays very quickly. You could get the all-in for 115 euro. No. Or you could get a starter menu, the new content, so both of them. So 2 for 35? Is that 2? That's actually not bad. It seems better than what they usually have been doing in magnetic deluxe boxes. That's cool. I always found that none of these needed to be in any sort of boxes whatsoever, because it's really just a deck of cards, but with a dial for health. What's shipping like? 7 euros. Yeah, I really want to see what this new content is. Do you get both? That's important. Yeah, Battlefruit Kingdom, Battlefruit Galaxy. Yeah, okay. Because 25 each is all right. It was kind of the standard. If it was just one, I was going to lose it. And it'd really be like 30 each. Kind of wish you could just pick and choose, but I guess it doesn't make sense for them, and they just make you pick both. I don't think you ever need an all-in for this game. I think if you get one copy, that'll be fine. And get the latest copy. For sure, don't get the original, get the latest, because it'll be a bit more tricksy, and it'll have a little bit more interactivity. And you can get those juicy new sets. So if you're interested in that, that finishes on the 4th. That's Saturday at 4 p.m. Moving along, maybe to this, I don't know, to Shooting Stars, a family-friendly memory game. 10 to 15 minute game where kids can beat their parents. Wow, that's certainly different from the 50s when it was just parents beating their children over and over. 32 backers, having raised $2,000 seems, I guess it's $50 US maybe each. I mean, no shipping information. It's just a memory matching game. $15 is okay, but oh yeah, $2 shipping. Okay, you know what? You were looking at you. You had the $2 shipping. So let's see. You have a grid of cards. You'll take turns secretly looking at your opponent's cards or your own card. If your entire sky is ever exposed, you lose. If you find nothing, you flip it up. If you discover alien life, you keep it secret. Keep it safe. There'll be special moves. So it's memory with special powers. That's what it is. It's memory with special powers. You and your children will love this new take on a memory game. You know what? I think you might not be wrong. I think memory with special powers is better than memory. And I played a rousing game of memory with my nephews recently, and, well, we tied. And that's frustrating to me because I don't want them to win. I want them to learn the harsh reality of this world. But we tied, so everyone got a trophy. Millennials. If you have children and you want to spend $15 on them, I think that's a fake thing. I think it's been, prematurely boosted since the max price you can spend is $45. Somebody just did a little bit of donating and tweaking the numbers, but you can take a shot. That's Monday, May 6th at 4:18. Let's move over to next Tuesday. Keyforge, yeah, they've changed their name. It's no longer Keyforge, it's Keyforge. Better than Keyfork, but still not as good as a Key Party. The Strange Domain of the Sky Realms is the focus of Keyforge Amber Skies, the 8th Keyforge set. Keep your eyes peeled towards this sky, April 24th, when the launch of the game found, yada yada. It's Keyforge again. Let's see if there's anything different at all. Keyforge is a cute little 2-player head-to-head card game.
So it's just like Duel Monsters.
I mean, yeah, it's closer than Mindbug is. You're going to activate one type of person, one type of minion on a turn. They all attack. Your goal is to gather these 6 little ember shards, which then you forge into a key. You make 3, you win. Wee. Every deck is unique and playable right out of the pack. You can kind of collect these decks. They'll all just have a bunch of random cards. You can just get a few packs and you'd be done with it. It's fine. If you want a new pack, you get a new pack. They'll all have some of the same iteration of cards, same different abilities, whatever. There'll be 3 factions that your deck is comprised of, and you want to balance drawing and activating those different factions while you punch your opponent in the face. How much are you, though? That's the question. Oh, yes, just a cool $165. No, that's wrong. What's the real price? The Novice of the Crucible for 2 players for $60. It's just too much. I like Keyforge when you grab a pack for $5, But 6 decks for $75, they're asking $15 for a deck. I think it's fine. I think it's good. I don't know if it's that good, to be honest. I've always found Keyforge a little bit too expensive, especially with the shipping, and I think you could probably get it on the secondhand market, just any decks of Keyforge, for cheaper. And I think you'd have an equally enjoyable time. So it's one definitely to keep your eye out if you're running around and looking at stuff, but to back on crowdfunding, I'm happy that it exists, but I don't need it personally. But if that's interesting to you, again, that finishes Tuesday early morning, aka Monday night at 12:59 a.m. Moving along, not really, to Earth Abundance Expansion. And we're not going to cover this, I don't think, because they're doing a the weirdest thing. It's a meld of the $1 pre-pledge that you have to pay them $1 while the campaign's going on because they can't wait for the campaign to end. I don't understand. Are they trying to tweak their marketing ROAS at this moment? Probably not. Maybe throughout the campaign. But what I really love is that it's currently raised $842,000, and if you look at regular Earth, that raised $731,000. So all the critical acclaim has only given them an extra $100K, or this $1 pledge suddenly isn't magical. I don't know. I need to look into this. Yeah, it says, see the campaign page to learn how to get the weather module for $1 by joining our newsletter. You still have to pay $1 for it. You can't just join the newsletter and get it. I don't know why you have to buy in for $1 when you're on the campaign page and you're presumably there to purchase. I'm very confused as to the reason. For me, that's almost even more of the negatives. They're like, listen, sign up for our newsletter. I get it. We want to be able to market to you in future. We want to have this robust email list. We want to inform you about other things. And then you also have to pay $1. Why? And why isn't it just in the pledge manager? Because they want you to sign up for the newsletter. And maybe that's the only way that they can confirm that your address is in there, is if you pay already and then you pay double in the pledge manager. I don't know. I also don't know why they're adding in 100-piece extra wooden soil when that soil is one of the worst pieces in board gaming. So because of this, and they were framing it as like, hey, you can sign up for our newsletter to get this thing. And then people would go to the newsletter and then they would see that they have to spend $1 on it. And all of that is just, I'm so disappointed in my Canadian company Inside Up. I enjoy Earth. I would have considered this campaign, but certainly not now if they're going to do this weird stuff.
Do you think when people meet you in real life, they're surprised you're not so grumpy?
I just save my grumpiness for home. Makes a nice balanced home life. Well, it depends who I'm talking to. I can be pretty grumpy to some certain people. Not you, the launch boom. People who take advantage of other people. But normally, people who I meet are cool, fun people who just like board games. So we're moving on. We're not looking at this. And it's just like, it's like an elevation I don't understand. Maybe there's an FAQ. As long as your newsletter email and your Kickstarter email are the same, the weather module will be added to your order automatically in the Pledge Manager. So you could probably do this for just people who signed up for your newsletter. Don't know why the $1's there, other than sunk cost fallacy buy-in that you're trying to create in someone who was already gonna probably buy your game because they found out about it here on the Kickstarter page. Oh. Or no, maybe they're just using that to market to their existing newsletter to say, hey, here's some sunk cost fallacy for you. FOMO, buy it now. I don't know. I don't care to find out any further than this because I think I've already found out. So let's move on to an actual game. This is our last game of the week. It's called Snowcrest by Grail Games. What else did Grail Games do? They make games worth seeking. Well, apparently I should seek them because there's nothing else here. I know I've seen Grail Games before. Australian company. Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley looked quite nice. Oh, Manhattan Project. My copy says Minion Games, but that's fine. Yeah, Silicon Valley looked cool. Okay. I'm now more excited about this one for Snowcrest. Let's see. Discover the ancient knowledge and appease mystical beasts. Sorry. Apologies. Burst! To bring peace to your village. To bring more burst to your village. There's no video, so let's just jump right into it. Ooh, this is going to be cheap too. All right. In a remote snowy mountain, seekers aim to rediscover lost ancient knowledge protected by magical beasts. Lead your village towards enlightenment, controlling priests, farmers, and laborers, tend fields, make offerings, meditate, and uncover ancient secrets. Overcome guardians for peace and prosperity in the snowfields. That's it. Aha. 37 prices in Australian dollars, which is about 24 US. That's a nice price. That's the price that you want to see. For what? I couldn't tell you, because they haven't told me yet. Game overview. Tableau building card game. You'll grow a village, and you can do 3 things on your turn. You can activate a card in your village. Perform its action, you flip it face down. Seems like they're all resource-based. You can add a new villager to your 3x3 village. Okay, only 3x3. Then activate it for more actions. Or you can rest by receiving resources and flipping all of your villagers face up again. When players choose to rest as the core of the game, you must choose to rest if and only if you have 3 cards face down in a row. Oh, in a row, up, down, or diagonal. This tic-tac-toe-like mechanism brings many choices and options to the players. Do you activate cards in a certain order to rest and reset your village, or do you push your villagers to do more sooner? Cool, and you get the resources that are on the top of the villager's card rather than the ability, which is changing stuff into resources. No rulebook? Is there a rulebook? That seems actually reasonable. Read the rulebook. Yes, thank you. Grail Games. You are worth seeking. Okay, you're going to pay resources to attract new villagers, construct buildings, do other stuff. It is important to know, however, that most cards can be used in place of 1 or 2 resources. And the building tiles all produce 1 type of resource. This means players aren't always certain what a player can or can't do. Sure. And likewise, a player is almost always able to do something on their turn. Right, here's the cost up here. That's what it will yield you. Or you can use it in the village as well to build stuff. Cool. And then you can build buildings which provide you consistent production. These are the types of things you can do. Oh, there's some guardians. Look at that. You activate guardians, so everybody has to do something as well. I like that a little bit more than I was expecting there. Cool, there's also meditation, so you're competing in this track. You're basically competing for tracks of resources in all type. How the game ends is when you take the last scroll. Scrolls are earned through meditation. Just whoever has the highest amount of that thing wins. And then you add up all your points. Cool. I think this looks pretty decent, and I think it's the right price as well. Let's see, shipping, 14 US. That ups the price a little bit, but it's about 38 US. Shipping to Canada, this would be about a $53 game, let's say. 54. That's probably too much, as per usual. It doesn't incite vigor in me enough to pull the trigger, but I think, maybe if you're in the US, I think the art's pretty cool. I think the chaining together seems pretty neat. And if you're interested in that, that'll finish on the 7th. That's Tuesday at 4 p.m. And that's it. That's it for the week. Now, every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you. The pick for me being the thing that I think is the most interesting mechanically. And the pick for you being the thing that I think if you got, you might regret the least. And sometimes there isn't a pick for you. I don't know if there is one this week. Maybe there is. Let's go back in time and go through our list of things. I think we started off with the bang. I think that's what happened. I think for me, pick for me is going to be Awkward Guests 2. I've always been interested in Awkward Guests. I think Awkward Guests 2 is like a little 2-player deduction, feels fun. I also don't think Renee would enjoy this one, so maybe it's not a pick for me. I like the art style a lot in this. I think it looks slick. I think it's a decent price as well. And if it can capture that deduction feeling for a 2-player experience, when normally sometimes you need a little bit more, I like deduction games. So that's my pick for me. I think my pick for you is going to be Rome. Rome, Fate of an Empire, the solo game of the month. I think you were all right. There was a reason why you were all asking me to look at it, to cover it. I can see the potential of there being that flow. I think the deal is definitely the right price. And I think there's a lot of potential here, for sure. So I hope those who were interested and who are backing it get a lot of enjoyment out of it. That would be probably the pick for you. That's it. That is it for the week. Another week come and gone. Thank you so much for being here. What are you backing? What are you playing recently? Tell me what you're playing. And if you missed it and you're based in the US, we have a giveaway going on that'll be announced next Monday. And stay tuned because there's going to be more giveaways that I'm going to be having on this channel, which is pretty sweet. I like giveaways where I don't have to organize them and I can just tell somebody, hey, ship it off. So that's the best one for me. And we've got a couple of those coming up. So yeah, if you want to win a copy of Harrow County, you can check out the Corpse of Discovery, or Core of Discovery, I always say Corpse, video that happened last Wednesday. It's on the channel. You still have time to enter into that giveaway and say the secret phrase, which a lot of you have been saying, and I really appreciate a lot of you putting in both secret phrases to trick the people who think there's only one secret phrase. And those people have probably already tuned out from this one as well. It's very funny to me. It makes me laugh every time I see it. And that's going to be the giveaway style moving forward. Thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate you all. My name is Chris George. I don't have a catchphrase, but I do have on my shelf over here this figurine. Goodbye.